right, Stephanie, are you ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, let's do this. All right, hello everybody. Welcome everyone and happy Halloween. We are back to give you an inside look at the new Parade platform, and we're glad you're joining us for this deeper dive. Whether you caught our launch earlier this month or this is your first time hearing about Parade or the new Parade platform, today is all about showing you how Parade helps brokers win more freight, cover loads faster, and helps you grow a trusted network of carriers, all while kind of taking a load off your daily operations, those kind of manual tasks that everybody gets bogged down in. This is meant to be an interactive session, so we're going to take questions throughout. Feel free to drop any questions you have as we go through things in the Q&A section, and we'll answer them as we go. And then if we could just go to the next slide. So before we jump in, let me introduce myself and my co-host. I'm Lindsay Pendleton, Head of Product Marketing at Parade, and today I'm joined by Stephanie, our Head of Product Marketing, or no, Head of Product. I'm Head of Product Marketing, my goodness, confused already. Over the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're gonna do a deep dive into the new Parade platform. We're gonna start with a quick recap of our core product and then jump into the latest features and updates that make our new platform so exciting. So again, we'd love for the session to be as interactive as possible. So we'll be taking your questions and answering them throughout. And with that being said, let's get to it. Next slide, please. Fantastic. Okay, so at its core, Parade is all about making capacity management easier and more effective for brokers. I don't need to tell you that managing capacity, it's more than just finding trucks, right? It's about building a reliable carrier network, setting competitive rates, and automating kind of those routine tasks and workflows that can really eat into your team's time. At Parade here, we started with 3 products to tackle these areas: Capacity, Advantage, and Co-Driver. With Capacity, we help you find and reuse carriers so you're not constantly searching for trucks. You get real visibility into your network, which makes it easy to keep your lanes covered with carriers you can rely on. Advantage is our dynamic pricing tool, which lets you set rates based on your actual capacity data, along with current market trends, so that way you're winning freight while protecting your margins. And then our most recent product, Co-Driver, which is basically a tool that handles all those load detail please emails and soon to be phone calls, but more on that later. Co-Driver automates your carrier communication, managing inquiries, sharing load details, and handling quotes, so that way your team can focus on getting more loads covered per day. And together, these tools help you win more freight, keep your carriers engaged, and boost kind of your load coverage efficiency. Next slide, please. So why do these tools matter? Well, at Parade, we like to say that managing capacity is a little bit like looking at an iceberg. You can see part on the surface, but there's a lot more hidden below. Most brokers are just scratching the surface, kind of relying on those post and pray methods, call-in, sticky notes. My desk is covered in sticky notes. I think a lot of my co-workers' notes are covered in sticky notes as well. It's not the best way to track information, regardless, what your profession is. But the reality is, with capacity, if you can't see it, you can't use it. So at its core, Parade helps you uncover that hidden capacity that's already in your own network. We bring together lane history, documented preferences, truck list emails, and more to give you that full picture. It's about finding what's been there all along and using it to cover more loads, drive repeat carriers, build stronger carrier relationships. You've got all this data within your network. Parade just makes sure you can actually put it to work and put it to work more efficiently. Next slide, please. So Parade brings your hidden network capacity to the surface, so that way you can find the right carrier for the right load at the right time, every time. We go beyond visibility and help you act on it, all while strengthening your carrier relationships and freeing up your team's time for those valuable conversations and tasks that all you as brokers or your reps can truly tackle. Parade supports carrier relationships with machine learning that not only tracks carrier availability, but also predicts lane preferences. This way, you're able to engage carriers with loads that fit their needs and habits. Think about it as sort of a personalized experience for your carriers. They see loads that match their lanes, their equipment, their preferences. We're all about freeing up time with automation. Parade makes it easier to engage carriers with automatic load offers instead of kind of constantly posting to load boards. Carriers can then receive those offers directly, and then when they're ready, accept them, instantly through Book Now, kind of locking in without that back and forth communication. And basically the end result is a system that works for you. Keeps your carriers happier with kind of those personalized, curated offers, and ensures you're not missing out on using all that available capacity. That's so valuable. Basically, Parade helps you cover more loads, build reliable partnerships, and scale without spending extra time on repetitive tasks. Next, please. All right, so now we're going to just kind of get into the meat of it, and then we'll hop into demo, just a little bit more overview. So, Parade is built with tools that help you efficiently manage your carrier relationships, streamline daily work, and get loads covered fast, all while improving your network's reach and engagement. So kind of here's a quick overview of how our core features work together, and then I'll hand it over to Stephanie to kind of demo some of those, and, we'll start taking your questions. So just at Parade, we like to say that capacity management at its best is all about finding the right load for the right carrier at the right time. That's the true secret sauce here. So to start, we make carrier engagement smarter. Parade helps you keep trusted carriers in your network by logging those preferences and using real-time data. We're giving your carriers a personalized experience so that you can target loads to the right carriers. We also simplify daily workflows with automation, from automated carrier outreach to instant booking and preset load matching with intelligent routing guides. Parade eliminates a lot of those repetitive tasks. So instead of manually chasing carriers or keeping track of all those post-its, all that back and forth work that eats into the day, your team can focus on the bigger picture. And expanding your network when you don't have a carrier for a lane or a load is a lot easier with some of the tools that we have for sourcing and syndication. These features can bring in carriers beyond your current reach, connecting you to reliable, trusted carriers faster and giving you more options to cover each load and expand that kind of core network of reliable carriers. Basically, it's all about keeping your top of funnel full with qualified carriers you can trust. And finally, we have features that keep carriers engaged. We have the ability to self-serve load bookings, kind of viewing and booking loads within a private portal, so you can drive that repeat carrier reuse that helps kind of protect margins and makes your brokerage easier to work with. And together, we like to think of these features as giving you a flexible, powerful system to manage capacity, strengthen relationships, and reduce daily hassle. So now that we've kind of done a little bit of an overview on kind of what Parade is all about, I will hand it over to Stephanie to do a quick demo of some of these core features. We want to make sure we have time to dive into all the new and exciting features that make the platform so exciting. So if there's something specific you'd like to see, as Stephanie is demoing, or if you have a question, drop it in the chat. We'll make sure to cover it. Or if, as Stephanie's going through this, you'd like to be able to have a deeper look or like a one-on-one, either drop your information in the chat and I can connect you with someone on our solutions team, or you can email info@parade.ai to set up a longer look at the core product. But without further ado, I will hand it over to Stephanie.
Awesome. Yeah, great to be here and excited to share a little bit more. I'll start with just an overview of our core capacity management platform. And as my colleague Andy likes to say, it's really kind of an octopus arm to help you cover freight. And the way that I tend to think about it is in terms of 6 key steps to help kind of automate and facilitate and make sure that you're finding the best carriers for every load and strengthening those carrier relationships. So the first pillar to start with is understanding your capacity. And at Parade, we look far and wide to find trucks for you. These can come in via email. So if a carrier posts or emails you saying that they've got a truck available, we'll read it, log it, and reply if we've got a matching load for that. We also let reps add truck postings, so you can manually add a carrier that's available. You're on the phone with them, say, hey, I've got a truck coming out of Chicago. We'll add that here, and then it will show up in your capacity. So I'm right here on our capacity page, looking at the list of trucks available. We also look at recurring capacity from your TMS, delivering trucks to get those reloads, searches on our private portal we call P4C, kind of your own internal load board, posted trucks on DAT or other syndication partners, Truck Stop, HopTech. We've got about 20 of them. And then we also, carrier reps can enter lane preferences for a carrier so that we know where your carriers like to go. So this is kind of the fundamental idea of capacity on the platform. And all of that capacity is shown to you on this capacity page. I can search for maybe only the carriers that I have a relationship with or the truck postings I've added. If I look for trucks with matches, we'll match this to loads available in your system and can see this custom comfort mattress company. They've got a truck available that matches with 5 loads on the platform. So that's capacity, and that's kind of the core underpinning of most of our features on the capacity management platform. The next step is pushing the loads out for visibility to carriers. And we do this in a lot of ways. So we have what's called a dispatch campaign that will regularly email carriers based on loads that we think would be a good fit for them, based on the capacity signals and lane preferences that we understand about the carrier. This can be a really powerful tool for driving conversions. We'll also reply, as I mentioned before, to those available truck emails. We post loads automatically, kind of pending your configuration to those load board syndication partners, and you can configure that globally or at the load level. And then we also have a waterfall tendering tool. So lots of different ways to get those loads out in front of carriers.
Hey, Stephanie, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing a
Yeah.
couple questions here. Do you mind if I
Oh,
hit
yeah. Let's
you
jump
move on?
in.
Great. So,
Yeah.
got a question around what load boards we integrate with.
Yeah, let's jump right in there. I'll show you the syndication settings. So just going to this marketplace syndication tab, and we can see all the load boards that are possible to integrate with. So you'll have your own private portal, DAT, Truck Smarter, Trucker Path, 123 Load Board, OpTech, Trucks AI. A lot of them you can control kind of how and when loads are posted to these boards, and they can be a very powerful tool for driving inbound traffic, which we'll talk about momentarily.
That's all for
Awesome.
now,
Yeah,
Stephanie. Sorry.
great. Cool. Please keep the questions coming. Appreciate that. Awesome. So we next up, pushing the loads out there. But then we also provide tools to help carrier reps search for the best carrier for any load. So we'll look here. We've got a load from I'm on our test account. So from Las Vegas to Houston, and want to know if there might be a carrier that could be a good fit. So we have what's called direct matches, and these correspond to real capacity signals. So it's either a posted truck, um, a delivering truck, an email specifically about this load. This is kind of a real signal about a carrier available in this place at this time. And then we have your suggested matches, and this is powered by our AI to find kind of the carriers that we think have the highest likelihood to be interested, whether they've run a lot of loads on this lane before, they've had previous capacity, they have lane preferences, their data from kind of public FMCSA inspection data shows that they're likely to be on this route. Kind of pull that all in together. This is a great way to look kind of outside of your core carriers and build that relationship. Also pull up past similar loads. And then over here, you can kind of configure your load board posting settings for this load in particular. So that's hunting for carriers. That capacity page I showed previously is also a great tool to, rather than kind of finding the carrier for the load, this is kind of flips it on its head. And it's how do you keep your top carriers fed? So in this case, kind of have a lot of capacity from Turner Holdings. Really want to kind of make sure to find a load for them. And I'll go here and if I filter for those matches, I can see, okay, I really want to find something for Torpedo Expedited Inc. And it looks like we've got a load for them. Reach out and do it that way. Then kind of moving down the funnel to covering loads, we'll talk about handling inbound. I'm gonna save that demo for a little later as we talk about our co-driver product. But this is kind of handling inbound requests from carriers about loads. Then getting closer and closer to the transactions, we have quotes. And over here, let's see, I'm in our best account here. Okay, so we're looking at things for today. Let's go back a little bit longer, but we provide kind of a platform for you to view and manage all the quotes that carriers are submitting. So when we post out to the load board, we'll be able to actually submit a quote directly from the links that we provide, dispatch campaign, or reps can manually enter quotes from carriers. So we can see this quote here. I can accept it, counter it, decline. And if I also kind of go to the load details page for this load, I will see that quote available here. And then finally, we also facilitate transactions. So you may hear us talk about Book Now. This will be kind of a tool for the carrier to kind of completely automatically transact. Whenever we post a load on a load board, we have a Book Now rate, and then the carrier can choose to accept that rate, and then we'll trigger kind of sending the rate con and getting that load booked totally behind the scenes. Um, have pricing rules to help kind of configure that rate. We can talk about that more in a minute, but kind of accepting quotes, kind of totally automated Book Now transactions. We also can have a tool called Auto Accept under Max. So this is a way to manage all of the quotes that you have. If you're getting a quote under that max rate, we can automatically accept it for you. Right, that's high level overview. We'll get more into some of the details, particularly around co-driver cascade down the line. But Lizzie, it looks like there's some questions.
Yeah, so a couple questions here. The question around the book now option that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Is there a way to, let me try to like read through the question here. Um, Basically, how do you set it? Like maybe we could take a look at book now
yeah,
strategy where you set that up.
absolutely. So we've
Or
got a global pricing strategy as well as kind of more specific lane level strategies. So let's start globally first. So I can add a global pricing strategy, and this can be based on a fixed margin from your customer rate. So say I wanted to target a 12.5% margin, or I can do a start buy strategy. In this case, um, yeah, let's see, kind of targeting a 12%, 12.5% margin here. And then this would be the rate that we posted out. If I wanted to customize this at the customer level, let's say I have customer ID 1221. We can continue and make a custom strategy for them. And again, it can be based on kind of just based on your start buy rate, or we can do more of a margin strategy here. So that's the global pricing rules. We'll see that showing up here. And then if we go to our smart lanes feature, this is really the hub to set your lane automation strategy. So you see I've got kind of particular lanes from Ontario to California to Tracy, California, Eugene, Oregon, Auburn, Washington, that I've got particular strategies for. Let's do a new one here. Just do Chicago to Dallas on a van. And here, can manage the pricing here. So I can add a lane preference for Chicago to Dallas. And then here say, I really want $1,000 from Chicago to Dallas, and we'll set my pricing strategy for this lane based on that. Um, and also add more automation at the lane level. So this is where you'll jump into your waterfall tendering, auto assign features. You can also get a little bit more specific about the lane. So I want to do really just Chicago proper. We'll do a 10-mile radius around Chicago to get a little bit more granular if I want to.
awesome. I'm seeing we have a couple other questions here, but I think they're things we're going to answer as we go. So if the folks who asked them will just bear with us, I think they're features we're going to cover in just a second. So yeah, let's hop back into it, and then we'll go through and do some more demos. Okay, so awesome. So now that we've looked at kind of these core features that made up the foundation of Parade, let me just talk through really quickly how the new Parade platform is sort of the next evolution and the latest features we have, and how they can help you, manage carrier relationships, kind of automate this repeat freight, which Stephanie talked a little bit there with the smart lanes, and then source qualified capacity and price freight, excuse me, based on real-time data. It wasn't a tongue twister, but I made it into one. Okay, so as you may be able to tell today, we're super excited to talk about the new Parade platform, which we're thinking of as kind of one place for everything you need to manage capacity. We've pulled together, all of our core features around capacity management. So capacity that Stephanie just demoed, our Advantage dynamic rating, and then Co-Driver, which is kind of our inbound and a soon to be outbound carrier communication tool to help you cover more loads in less time and kind of reduce some of that manual work that really bogs teams down. So basically by bringing Capacity Advantage and Co-Driver together, the Parade platform gives brokerages everything you need in one place so you can, win more freight, cover loads faster, and keep your carriers engaged. From everything from making it easy to understand and grow your private capacity network. Our tools give you real-time insights into carrier availability, preferences, performance. You're able to engage carriers who know your lanes, carriers you trust, making your coverage more reliable. Then when we think about automation, it's covering your repeat freight at lightning speed with very little effort from your team. So that way you're able to set up recurring lanes, kind of on autopilot. So that's basically loads that are booked, that from the start of every month. Keeping loads moving fast without constantly reassigning them, trying to find somebody to cover them, and then finally, you're able to price with confidence based on your real capacity. So using Advantage, you can set rates that reflect your own network and market trends, so you're staying competitive. So let's kind of jump into this first set of features. If we could hit that next slide. Fantastic. So the Parade platform, like I said, is built to help you develop a trusted network of carriers and get more out of the existing relationships you have. Most brokers are working with a core group of, 15 to 20 carriers, but with Parade, we've seen brokerages, expand that number, all while, kind of tracking preferences and driving reuse in a reliable and scalable way. As you saw earlier, our existing tools support this in a big way, so thinking about, kind of carrier CRM, where you can keep carrier data organized, match loads based on each carrier's unique profile, automated qualification, speeding up onboarding, helps prevent fraud, plus saves you time from, wasted on carriers who don't meet your standards. We've seen some of our customers reduce time spent on unqualified carriers by up to 30%, which is a huge amount of your day that you can have back to kind of tackle that more challenging work, and you're not wasting time talking to carriers that you don't want to work with. And then finally, kind of thinking about the private carrier portal, which makes it easy for carriers to book loads directly, which drives more engagement and increases repeat usage. And now we've added 3 features to take this even further. So we have Source, which helps you find qualified carriers for each load using real-time data to match carriers based on their lane preferences and ability. Carrier Insights, which kind of digs deeper in, giving you a full view of each carrier's history, their performance, their compliance data, all at a glance. Which basically helps you mitigate fraud, make sure you're working with reliable partners. And then finally, the capacity page, which Stephanie did a really awesome demo of just a moment ago, which shows you exactly where carriers have available trucks. So that way you're making the most out of your in-network capacity. Together, these features kind of all combine and help you build that trusted network that's ready to handle more freight, drive reuse, and reduce the risks involved in finding new capacity. So I'll hand it back to Stephanie, who's going to show you a little bit more about Source and Carrier Insights and help you show how these things all come together to give you a full view of your network and keep your lanes covered.
Awesome. Well, I guess I cut to the chase a little bit there with
Oh,
the
it was great.
capacity
It made
page,
sense
but that is
about with capacity. No, it was perfect.
one of our new features. But we'll jump in. Source, for those of you who have been with Parade a while, this is a feature we've had for a little bit, but we've done a pretty significant revamp recently to make sure that we deliver on the promise of never forgetting a carrier and finding the best carrier for every load. So totally revamped model. Extensive results, and we've also pulled in public data from FMCSA here as well. So let's see, let's look again. We'll just do the Chicago to Dallas lane here. Search for this on a van. While this is loading, if I want to search for carriers with a hazmat certification, I can do this here. Can also, it'll kind of default to showing both in-network and out-of-network carriers, but if I want to just limit to mine, kind of will reduce the results here. Or if I specifically want to kind of improve my carrier go-to-market, find new carriers, I can search for out-of-network. If I am the carrier relationship manager for certain carriers, I can limit my search to those as well. So see in the top here, we show carriers that would be a good fit for this lane. In this case, Landstar Ranger has a lane preference on Chicago to Dallas. They're domiciled in Jacksonville. They've had a recent truck on this lane. And if we dive into this match signal piece, we'll see actually all the data that is going into our algorithm, so making it super transparent here. They've really it's the lane preferences that is driving this one, I would assume, and they've got a little bit of recent capacity. Um, and also, if we want to see more extended results, I can click on here. Or if I just want to see carriers for whom I've entered lane preferences, I can filter for those lane preferences match. They can tend to be really strong signals, so we'll limit ourselves to here. And we've got in this account lots of lane preferences from Chicago to Dallas.
Hey, Stephanie, before you move on, I got a couple questions here. Do you mind if I
Yeah,
go with you now? Okay, great. So right off the bat, where can we talk a little bit more about where Source is getting the info for on carriers?
yeah. So this will come from basically your history with this carrier. So if I look at these match signals, these are all of the features that the model is taking into account. So I see how many loads this carrier has covered for me on the past 90 days on this lane. We also look at their domicile. So if, for example, Lions Empire, they're domiciled out of Palatine, Illinois. So that means good fit that they probably have a lot of trucks coming out of Illinois. Look at the amount of capacity. So this is kind of signals about trucks being available near Chicago. Look at recent trucks they've delivered in Chicago or departed near Chicago. Oh no, both, yeah, delivering and coming out. Um, Lane preferences, and then whether they've quoted on this lane before as well. If we look into this map here, really handy. Lancer Ranger, obviously huge. They go everywhere. But if we look at, I don't know, Lions Empire, okay, so they're a little bit more. You can see they've done some inspections in Appalachia. And I'm on that one. Anyway, we'll pull in the inspection data for carriers, and you can see kind of for yourself whether they seem to do a lot of freight on this lane.
Couple more questions. One seems like a good follow-up to that, though some from Alex. Okay. So how up to date is the information in Source?
Yeah, so it's real time. We'll look at kind of your load history to the minute. We're also integrating kind of live with FMCSA for that public carrier data. So this should always be up to date. You should then be able to enter a lane preference and then see that show up right away. It's calculated when we're not like caching the search or anything. It should be um, up to the minute.
Cool, awesome. And then one other follow-up says here, we've mentioned lane preferences a lot. We did, that's fair. We do talk about those a lot. What type of carrier preferences can we track?
Yeah, so I'll show you how we add a lane preference. Super simple. I look up a carrier here. Statistically may not have that many. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then set up their pickup location, destination, equipment type, kind of whether they like it, or we can do sort of an anti-lane preference. I think this is really cool, saying carrier hates to go from Chicago to Dallas. That would be a good thing to know here as well. And we can add these lane preferences. I just showed you from our quick actions tab, so you can always get to it. But then you can also add a lane preference directly from Source here as well. So if I'm calling JB and Fitz and they tell me, oh, they hate this lane, I can record that on the fly. Other pieces of information that we show on carriers, let me just pull up our carrier profile here. That's a really good question. Look on Absolute here again, our friends here. And see that their preferences, they like chemicals and garbage, household goods, good for them. We can update that here in terms of what they will and won't haul. We can also see what they've recommended for them. This is kind of the hub for the lane preferences where I showed you how we can add. We can also add track postings. This shows up directly as a capacity signal across parade and will show up in that capacity tab.
Awesome. And then
Yeah.
this isn't a question, but I think it's really cool, and I'd love for you to highlight it. I know you mentioned
Yeah.
a quick action. Could you just show the quick
Mhm.
actions off? I know it's a new feature and they're really cool, so I want to make sure we highlight those.
Yeah, so kind of basically the idea here is if a rep's on the phone with a carrier, we want to be able to have them kind of do these things as fast as possible. So we can add a quote, add a lane preference, add a truck posting in real time. There's also some hotkeys here. I know brokers are experts at kind of doing everything just on the keyboard. And then we can jump into this carrier insights as well. This is kind of quickly looking up. I've got carrier on the phone or email, and I want to look up real fast to see if they're legit. So look at up our friends Absolute here, and say it's Steve. We can search for either kind of one or the other or both. So let's look for Steve at Absolute. Absolute has not covered any loads for either you or a broker on Parade in this past. We also don't know this email. I just made it up. There's probably no Steve at absolute.com. But this carrier is known to the Parade network. This email is not. It's not known to be fraudulent. And this email has not been previously associated with this DOT number or any other DOT number. That would be kind of a red flag if it was associated with many DOTs, but not this one.
Cool. Awesome. That's all the questions for now. So yeah, keep on going.
Great.
All right, we're gonna.
All right, let's jump ahead.
All right,
Demo
awesome.
slide.
So yeah, as kind of Stephanie walked through, with Parade, we're helping kind of take control of your capacity so you can win more freight. But ultimately your network's unique capacity is your biggest asset, right? And so we've designed tools to make sure you're using it to the fullest. So when you think about, advantage dynamic rating, which we're going to show shortly, basically it lets you set rates based on real-time data. So you're not stuck with those like general market averages. This is pricing that takes into account your brokerage's unique capacity, specific lane data that allows you to then kind of price competitively and protect your margins, all based on the strength of your network. Then we do have auto quoting in beta, which lets you submit bids without, kind of all that manual back and forth. Obviously everybody's kind of competing against, computers bidding. So, big teams of bidding. So it allows you to kind of compete within that space of the spot market. It automates the bidding process. So you're getting offers out faster, capturing more opportunities, and, basically winning spot market freight without that back and forth and at the speed of the freight market as things get more and more digital and automated, and then with bid reporting, you're not guessing about performance. You can track what bids are converting and then really easily adjust. Together, these tools give you that edge in both pricing and bidding so you can win more freight with the capacity you have. So now I'll pass over to Stephanie, who will walk you through Advantage Dynamic Rating. She is our go-to in-house Advantage expert. So I always love it when she walks us through it. So yeah, let's take a look.
Awesome. Yeah, so Vantage personalized pricing on Parade. So we'll start with the manual lane search here. Let's do our Chicago to Dallas lane again. We'll say, how about pick up tomorrow? This can impact the predicted price. We know lead time, or like I didn't say tomorrow, let's pick up on the 4th. And we'll do it on a van. We can get more granular in the equipment type. All these things will impact price. Or if there's any features about the load, say it's paper goods, super heavy, after hours drop, palletized freight. Those were things that stood out as particularly important to price. Let's just do a basic van load here. You can see this lane up at the top. If I want to change that, I can. And then this top line is our headline results. And I'm going to zero in on this Advantage carrier price. This is the price predicted by our model. So what goes into this? We look at your lane history, your historical buying power on this lane for vans in general, maybe out of kind of your strength in Chicago or going into Dallas. We also look at the amount of capacity kind of you've had historically available as well as available currently. And this can take in pretty real-time signals. I think it looks at that the finest granularity is about a 3-day average. So helping kind of avoid that lag issue that you see with kind of some other longer-term market indices. Also look at signals for price levels across Parade. We look at macro economic data, inflation, price of gas, all of those go in as well. And then we compare that. So this is the Parade personalized rate for your brokerage. We compare that side by side with DAT. And this is really important because kind of DAT in this space is really more of a market maker. The shippers and carriers will be kind of making decisions relative to the DAT rate. If I kind of thought my rate should be 2,300, but DAT was under 2,000, I might get some eyebrows raised if I bid based off of that. So it's really important to kind of triangulate especially your customer bidding strategy relative to the advantage that I have, as well as the market rate. So say, for example, if I can edit these assumptions to kind of work out the price I want to bid. Maybe I didn't believe this. I thought I could cover this load for $1,200 at a 15% margin. Maybe I think the market rate is going to be, say even a conservative, 8% here over DAT. While if I'm bidding at 15% margin, it's still leaving a lot of money on the table. I'm apparently really strong on this lane. So if I bump this up to, a 25% margin, I could still feel confident that I'm bidding relatively competitively to the market and taking advantage of my buying power on this lane. I can also record my bid here. So say I've worked out kind of 1953. Let's make this a nice round 1950. And we'll pick up a shipper account here, and can record the bid, and then it will show up in my kind of in our analytics and bid history.
Yeah, I have a couple, if you don't mind me interrupting, I have a couple
Yeah,
questions here that I think are related to where you're going, but I'll just flag in case they're not.
great.
Got one question wondering what kind of reporting is available, and then I think this will be covered in the same section. Basically, can I see how I've priced a lane previously?
Yep, absolutely. So let's jump over to the load history tab. We didn't want to just tell you what the price is and have you believe us, but we want to be sure that kind of we're giving reps the ability to triangulate and sanity check this rate and kind of take what we say and then apply their own judgment on top of that. So we'll show you the capacity that you currently have available on this lane. We'll also show your load history. Just account we actually don't have any, but would see kind of the equipment type, commodity, carrier rate, customer rate, all shown here. We'll see kind of what has been the distribution of carrier rates on this lane for the past month, as well as your customer rates. And then had I recorded a bid here, I would see that bid history show up right here. Also jump into our reporting tab. This is the real-time rating configuration. Look at the bid analytics here. Give it a minute. I just got an alert coming. Oh, no. Okay. Looks like this is resolved here. So I really like this because most brokers don't have a lot of visibility into the spot market activity. They, happens kind of judgment of kind of sales reps, and then we don't often brokers don't track the bids that they're submitting at what rates and whether they win or not. So this tool will give you visibility into kind of the bids that you're submitting, loads that you've won. Will match the bids and the loads behind the scenes. So to kind of estimate, hey, you've been bidding on this Chicago to Dallas load with customer XYZ. Saw you won a load coming in the next day. We're gonna mark that as a win for you behind the scenes. So show the loads that you've won, the revenue from those loads and the associated margin, and total gross profit for recorded loads. You can filter kind of this whole report by shippers or by users. I like the user view. That's a really cool coaching tool for managers to say, hey, Tom, you've really been bidding at super high rates. Your profits are good, but you're not winning anything. Maybe you should kind of become a little bit more competitive here. So I think that's a cool tool. We jump in and see kind of our margins and revenue per load over time as well. You can get a lane level view of the portfolio. So what lanes am I bidding on? Where am I winning? Where is my kind of most profit coming from? I think this is a really cool tool to help manage your portfolio. You can get this across customers or across users as well. And then we'll see the whole bid history kind of across the portfolio or whatever filters that I've applied here in this bid history tab.
Awesome.
Cool.
There's just one last question, and then maybe or did you have other things to
Yeah, I was gonna jump into the batch rating
Oh, sure, yes, of
real
course.
quick.
Get that. No, my fault.
Yes, we showed the kind of single lane search first. This is a basically CSV version of that. You can um, fill out a template in a G sheet template of the lanes that you want to price. Instructions here. Okay, just taking a minute to load. You'll fill out this form, and then we'll give you the predicted advantage rate next to the DAT rate for every load on the spreadsheet in your email. It's
Uh,
pretty straightforward.
Quick question. How many lanes can you price at one time? What's the
It's a
max?
max of a meg, so should be several hundred lanes is doable. But the more lanes that you have, the longer you'll need to wait typically. But it's yeah, can do a reasonably sized file.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's keep moving. Got a couple more exciting things to talk about. So yeah, so as Stephanie just kind of showed you, you basically with the advantage dynamic rating, you can secure more freight using your capacity data to price competitively. But ultimately, securing more freight is just the start. Parade offers the ability to have efficient coverage is what really drives value. So that's where tools like Cascade and Auto Assign come in. We're really excited to show you those. Cascade, as Stephanie hinted at earlier, automates waterfall tendering, which basically lets you send loads to preferred carriers in sequence, basically letting you keep top carriers engaged, making sure your core lanes are consistently covered without that manual intervention. Auto Assign takes it a step further by handling recurring freight automatically, basically for project freight or lanes that need the same carrier over and over again. Auto Assign puts it on autopilot. That means your team isn't stuck rebooking the same lane, so they can focus on higher impact or more challenging lanes instead, basically keeping your core carriers active, happy, and consistently working with you. And then kind of finally thinking through other features like Book Now and automated load offers, you're keeping carriers in the loop and engaged with instant booking options and tailored load matches. So all of your project freight can be covered effortlessly, keeping your operations moving and your best carriers in play. Parade platform lets you win more freight and then cover it, a little bit easier. Basically, by putting the repeat work on autopilot, you're driving those strong carrier relationships, keeping your core lanes full, and freeing up time for that hands-on work that really requires you and your team. So once again, I will hand it back to Stephanie to show you how Cascade and Auto Assign can help drive efficient load coverage.
Great. 1 second here.
And then
Yeah,
actually,
so let's jump back.
oh, I'm sorry, just seeing a question
Oh,
right
fine.
chat.
Yeah.
Make sure we cover it as you go. Just around if they can set specific lane pricing.
Yes. Yep. So let's jump into a lane here and um, yeah, so before you can add a price for this lane, so say we want either to be just based on the start buy, maybe my global strategy was a margin strategy, add a margin here. We'll target say 8% margin on this lane. It's fairly competitive. Or we can do a fixed all-in rate. I need $1,500 from Ontario to Tracy. It's probably a lot for a short haul lane. Cool. Yeah, if I can just set that strategy here, and then we'll see that I've got a particular strategy from Ontario to Tracy. Cool. So we've already got one cascade here on this lane. Typically, probably wouldn't want to have too many going on at once, but for the purposes of the demo here, let's take a look at the reporting. See the top customers on this lane. Okay, yeah, this is our test account, so not necessarily a real lane here, but if we did, we'd be able to see kind of the top customers on this lane, the load activity. So when a load is booked on in the cascade, it'll flow right through here. We also look at the carriers on this lane, and this is super helpful. I'm not sure if there's going to be, yeah, on this test account there isn't, but we'd be able to see that the top carriers that we were running on this lane. We'll also highlight on the Smart Lanes homepage lanes that are a good candidate for auto assign. I really like that. Basically, lanes with your carriers having a high percentage of freight on top lanes. This is a suggested lanes tab. If we jump over to suggested auto assign lanes, okay, yeah, we don't have just in this test account, not there, but we'd kind of show at the top, kind of if I have Chicago to Dallas, carrier XYZ has covered 80% of the freight. We would call that out as a good candidate for either Cascade or Auto Assign. Okay, so let's jump in here and we'll maybe delete this previous Cascade, keep things simple, and we'll add a new one here. So say from Ontario to Tracy on a van, we can make this rule a little bit more specific to a particular customer ID if we want, or get more granular in terms of zip code, revenue code, order type, commodity. But for now, let's just leave this. We'll get rid of the customer field. This will be everything, any load on a van from Ontario to Tracy. Continue here. And then let's see, got RX Logistics, and we want to offer it to them for 1,500. And they'll have exclusive access to that for 30 minutes. We'll email them as soon as the load comes in, and then no one else will know about it for 30 minutes, or maybe even want to give it to them for 90 minutes. And then we'll pick the next carrier in our cascade here. Okay, Bennett, heavy and specialized, and we'll also offer it to them for 1,500, although I could change the rate. We'll give it to them for 30 minutes. Okay, and then here, yeah, we can set email address for the broker. Give it to my, or sorry, this is internally at the brokerage. So whenever we get a load on Cascade here, we'll send it to Derek. He's our head of VP of partnerships and marketing, to him, and then we'll set the carrier contacts at Bennett and RX. In this case, we don't have one, so we have to add one. Cool, so that's the fundamental. I think I need to add one before going forward. And then we continue here and we'll activate our cascade, which should show up here in a minute. Cool, and then as loads come in that are activated by this cascade, we'll be able to show all of them here on this page so you can manage and whether this cascade is working effectively. Just go in right now and show one more thing. So this is the auto assign. This is a really powerful feature for, we've got a dedicated relationship with RX. We really like them. Want to just give them the load at 1,500, and if they, we'll assign it to them directly. They can go ahead and reject it if they really don't want it, but we're not going to go through this whole song and dance. We're just going to send them the rate con. So I'll continue here, and we'll say this is a committed volume. And we can set the max here if we want. Say we're not going to send them more than 5 per day, or we want to really get specific, we can only give them loads on Monday, kind of depending on the relationship we have there. But let's not kind of set a limit here. We'll just kind of basically give them all of the volume coming out of Ontario to Tracy. We could share the excess volume with another carrier if we wanted to, but let's keep it simple here. Have it active from today going forward. If we wanted to make it stop sooner, we could, but right now let's just give RX this Ontario to Tracy lane, and then we'll see that show up here. This is our auto assign feature. Any questions about that?
Amazing. No, one quick question, which is just how's Cascade different from waterfall tendering?
It's not. It's what we call waterfall tendering at Parade.
Awesome. And then I do see one question here that I can answer, which is just are these features available now? And they are. So with the exception of very shortly, we're going to cover co-driver voice, which is coming soon, and we have a wait list for that. But otherwise, all of the features we're reviewing today are available right now. If you are a current Parade customer or user and you don't have these features, if you want to either drop a note in the chat or Q&A, and I can connect you with someone on the team to get you configured with some of these solutions, or if you have an account manager you want to reach out to directly, they can also help, whichever would be easiest for you. Otherwise, if you are not currently with Parade, you can either, again, drop your information in the chat and I'll forward it to the right folks, or you can send us an email at info@Parade, and we'll go through all this stuff at the end as well. And then with that, I want to keep moving, so I know we only have 10 minutes left, and we have some very, very exciting things coming up on Co-Driver, which is our new AI tool. So we'll go through these slides kind of quickly. So that way we can hop right into the demo. So I'm going to just kind of do a little abridged version here. Bear with me. So, basically, we've gone through all these features, recurring freight, get that covered with your core network. But what about when your core network can't cover a load? So Parade makes it easy to bring in qualified carriers who can. We want to keep your top of funnel full of verified, reliable carriers ready to take on freight, even when your usual partners can't. Co-Driver is our generative AI tool that takes care of all those inbound load detail please emails that you spend, hours every day sorting through. It responds to them automatically, pre-qualifies carriers before your team ever has to get involved, which means you can cover loads faster with carriers you trust. We've seen customers increase real-time carrier prices by 4x, doubling their load coverage, all without all that manual work. We're also excited to share 2 new capabilities in Co-Driver. Soon, Co-Driver Voice, you'll be able to extend the same inbound automation to phone calls. Co-Driver Voice, which Stephanie's going to demo, and it's really cool, will handle routine phone inquiries, capture details, keep your top of funnel strong across multiple channels, basically connecting you with qualified carriers through every inbound channel without all of that manual back and forth. After I hand it off to Stephanie, I will drop the waitlist for Co-Driver Phone Co-Driver Voice, in the chat. And then for times when you want to reach out directly, we're actually introducing Co-Driver Outbound Manual, which will be in beta shortly. This is a feature which is gonna allow reps to initiate a Co-Driver conversation with a carrier on a specific load, basically giving you the flexibility to start that engagement when needed without, fully configuring, or, if you're a current Parade customer, you want to just try that out before you configure Co-Driver, or it just offers another option for automation and kind of increasing that time to book. Together, Co-Driver means you're never short an option for covering your freight. Basically, when your core network can't handle it, your top of funnel is ready to fill that gap. And then I'll just go through these slides really quickly. So you just want to talk about some of the amazing results we're seeing with Co-Driver. So if we can hit the next slide. This is actually a picture of our real-time volume. It's for September. I should have done October. It's the last day of the month. I wasn't thinking about that. But, basically, what you can see here is, it's driving real impact for brokers, boosting quote volume by almost 4x. So as you can see, the blue are quotes received for loads or using Co-Driver, and then the coral is without Co-Driver. So the differential between quote volume for those is really quite substantial. We can go to the next slide. And then, this is a slide kind of showing the increase.
Sorry.
Just skip it. Never mind. But basically, what that slide was going to show is that, in addition to increasing overall quote volume, it's increasing the number of quotes per quoted load. So not only are you seeing more of your loads getting quotes, quickly without that manual back and forth, but you're actually getting more options per load, which, we've heard a lot of feedback from our customers around, that giving them a really fast sense of the market, the going rate, so that even, reps that aren't working loads that are covered by Co-Driver, they're able to kind of get a sense of the market and have a better understanding of, what a good rate for a particular load would be, which is, really exciting. So I want to hand it over to Stephanie. I'm going to drop into the chat some links and some information around kind of next steps, just in case we run out of time. We can stay over, but I want to be respectful of everybody else's time. So I want to make sure you have the information you need going forward. And with that, Stephanie, take it away.
Let's jump into it. So I'm just going to expand the time filter here. So as Lindsay mentioned, Co-Driver is our automation hub for inbound requests from carriers. Started with email, moving to voice as well. But here we can see basically driving to quote outcomes. So this is a quote from my colleague, Arthur, and Arthur Trucking. And we can see the conversation where Arthur kind of emailed in asking about this load from Fairview to Cuyahoga Falls, and Co-Driver will negotiate to a quote, and so we landed on Arthur Trucking quoting at $600. So super straightforward email automation, getting to a quote outcome, record those quotes on the quote page. You'll see in this account, a lot of these quotes are coming in from Co-Driver. Very powerful tool for generating good high quality quotes. I actually see the profit on Co-Driver lanes those margins tend to be a little bit better than on kind of loads booked via other automations at Parade. But let's jump into the demo here. And Lindsay, please tell me if you can hear it with my headphones. I'm gonna try to take this off here.
Yeah, you might need to take the headphones off.
Yeah, is this?
Unfortunately.
Let's see.
Thanks for calling.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
No, can't really hear it, Steph.
Oh, he was just chatting about Halloween. Okay, one sec.
Sorry, and while Stephanie gets that set up, if you're a current parade customer, you probably know Andy. He is a beloved parade team member. Oh no, we lost Stephanie. Well, she will come back, and if not, I can demo it really quickly. I'll give her 2 seconds just to come on. I know she's really excited to share it about co-driver voice, and I want to give her the opportunity to do that. But currently, it's using one of our coworkers, Andy. He's a former broker, currently works with brokers to help them kind of get set up and onboarded to Parade. And he's just sort of a beloved individual. So the co-driver voice is currently Andy. So it's nice and fun to call and chat with Andy. And then we actually did a recent team on-site, and while to kind of demo this tech and get everybody excited, one of our data scientists created a little test version where he could share a cocktail recipe with us. So the actual co-driver voice will not do that, but it's a really cool technology, and it's always fun to get to chat with Andy, whether in real life with him as a person or through this AI version, which I'll let Stephanie showcase now.
Awesome. Thanks for the patience here. All right, we're giving him a call again here.
Thanks for calling Parade. This is Andy. How may I assist you today?
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for asking. We're pretty busy today, but it's Halloween, so that's to be expected. How about you? How's your day going so far?
My day's going pretty well. Hey, Andy, I was interested in that load you've got from Seattle to San Francisco.
Before we discuss the load from Seattle to San Francisco, could you please provide your MC number?
My MC is 1529895.
Okay, give me 1 second. All right, this is PGS 360 Logistics LLC.
Yep.
Looks like we can work together. So you were looking at the load from Seattle to San Francisco. Can you tell me which specific load you're interested in? Or
Yeah,
would you like me to provide you with some options?
the one that picks up tomorrow on a van.
Okay, let me see. All right, I have a load picking up from Seattle, Washington at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Friday, and delivering in San Francisco, California at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Friday. The load is on a van weighing 43,000 pounds and hauling general freight. My rate is posted for $2,500 off.
Oh, I could do that for 2,700.
I appreciate your offer, but I need to confirm if you're accepting the load at the posted rate of $2,500 or if you're making a counter offer of $2,700. Can you please clarify your position on the rate?
Yeah, I can do it for 2,700.
I think there might have been a slight miscommunication. You mentioned you can do the load for $2,710. But I need to confirm if you're accepting the load at the posted rate of $2,500 or if you're making a counter offer of $2,710.
Doing a counter offer.
Confirm your position on the rate.
Yep. Counter offer of.
I think we got a bit sidetracked. To confirm, you're making a counter
Yes.
offer of $2,700 for the load from Seattle to San Francisco.
Correct.
I need to let you know that I'm going to have to discuss your counter offer with my team. Can you please hold for just a moment while I check on the rate?
Sure. Right.
Hello, are you still there?
Yep.
I was saying I need to discuss your counter offer with my.
Great.
I apologize for the pause. To confirm, I apologize for the pause. So I've discussed the counter offer with my team, and we're willing to meet you at $3,700 for the load from Seattle to San Francisco. Would you like to accept the load at that rate?
Yes.
I'm glad we could come to an agreement on the rate. Just to confirm, I have a load picking up from Seattle, Washington at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Friday, and delivering in San Francisco, California at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Friday. The load is on a van weighing 43,000 pounds and hauling general freight. We've agreed on a rate of $2,700. Is that correct?
Yes. Awesome. Let's do it. All right. So yeah, a little bit of negotiation there. We'll
kind of he's driving to the same sort of quote outcome that the email co-driver is. So this is in beta at the moment, and we're really excited about kind of the possibilities for this technology.
So I know we are at 11:01. Stephanie and I are happy to stay on. I'd love for Stephanie to show us the manual outbound, but I just want to do a quick recap for anybody who does need to leave. Thank you for staying with us. I posted some links in the chat. If you would like to join the co-driver voice waitlist, there's a link there to sign up. That link will also be sent along with a recording of this to everyone who signed up. If you are new to Parade and you would like to learn more about some of these features or have like a one-on-one demo, see how things would be configured for your brokerage, you can contact us at info@parade.ai. If you're a current Parade customer and would like to have these features configured for your account, you can contact your account manager, or if you're not sure who that is, you can contact us at support@parade.ai. And then without that, I want to thank everybody, if you do need to leave, for joining us today. For the sake of the recording and for anyone else who would like to stay on, we'll go through some of those other awesome co-driver features. Otherwise, I wish everybody else a very happy Halloween, and thank you for spending some of your morning with us today. So I'll hand it back to Stephanie to do the demo for anyone who'd like to stay.
Great, thank you all. Actually, just gonna speak about these two features coming very soon, still in development. So, but basically, we're going to turn on co-driver for all of our existing customers in this manual version. Doesn't require any special configuration. We're just going to let you try it out in two ways. And I'm really excited about this. So you can forward an email to co-driver. We'll set up a particular inbox that you can send emails to, and then it'll trigger kind of the co-driver negotiation with that carrier. Kind of they email you about a particular load, send it to co-driver, and co-driver will continue the conversation. You can also trigger an outbound email from co-driver from our loads page. So this will be kind of select the carrier from our direct matches and then say, hey, I want to start a conversation with them. Co-driver will send an outbound asking if they're interested in this load and then handle it to the gathering a quote. So that should be coming very soon, and will allow everyone a chance to try it out.
And I think that is all for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for all of your excellent questions. Oh, actually, no, let me make sure there aren't any other questions. I'm so sorry. I got so excited about all those features. Okay, we have a couple on co-driver. Very quickly, how is this different than Vuma or Happy Robot? It's a really, really great question. You know, functionally, in terms of its current state, it's not. What makes it different from Vuma or Happy Robot is the rest of the full platform. You know, ultimately, it's the depth of integration, both in terms of your capacity, all of the other tooling, your various different TMSs. Stephanie can speak a little bit more to that, you know, but basically, while it has that voice component, what makes it such an exciting thing is how it all connects together and the depth of those integrations.
Yeah, 100%. You know, Andy has the context for the loads that you're running, can also kind of drive to a quote within Parade's ecosystem, maybe eventually could drive to an actual kind of book now. And I think, yeah, that's the difference, the depth of the integration with Parade and our integrations with your TMSs and partners.
Then we have a couple other questions here, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for staying. What happens? I'll just ask all the questions, Stephanie, and then if you don't mind just responding. So we have a couple. What happens if a carrier has a question co-driver can't answer?
Yep.
And who does the carrier think they're talking to?
Yeah, so great question. Co-driver is right now, you know, focused on driving to quotes. So if it's a conversation about something else, like co-driver will escalate that conversation to inbox for humans. Or if it's, you know, something, that the carrier responds with a specific question about the load, maybe something really detailed about the equipment type, we're going to flag that as needing review. Yeah, the escalation is a really important part of this. Co-driver is able to handle the vast majority of these quote related conversations. But if there's something that it gets stuck on, rather than trying to do it when it can't, it will escalate it to a dedicated inbox. And then the other question around who does do carriers think they're talking to, the broker can configure sort of the persona that they want co-driver to be for their brokerage, customize the signature. Sometimes, they call it Tom, or brokers have different names, and they kind of refer to it internally too as this sort of kind of their co-driver rep. So yeah, you can configure that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know we are way over time. I thank everybody for staying and your time and your attention today and all the really great questions. Again, we'll be sending out a recording of this to everybody who attended, along with, links to the co-driver waitlist, co-driver voice waitlist, excuse me, and then, different links you can contact if you're interested in, either learning more about the platform, or if you're a current customer and interested in getting these features configured on your account. And with that, I will wish everybody a very, very happy Halloween. Hopefully it'll just be all treats for everybody, no tricks. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you all.